When the Jedi Order falls, an Inquisitor rises. Hey everyone, welcome back to another booktastic episode of Empire Radio. I'm Jeremiah.
I'm Drew.
And we are back with Inquisitor, Rise of the Red Blade by, what was the name? Delilah S. Dawson. That's for the title, not for the author. But yes, a book review. This has been a book.
Whoa,
What?
that was a quick shot fired.
What?
For the title, not for the author?
Well, because you had your scary, like, Delilah,
yeah.
You're not scary. The Inquisitors are scary.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yes, so this book came out last year, I believe it was, and it's been kind of like on my radar, and some people have requested it, and I'm like, seems like a fun read. So I was like, we're probably gonna do it, and so we're here. But we should make a little quick announcement. We haven't said anything yet, but we're gonna say now because it's been official. So we got press passes to Twin Cities Con in November 8th, 9th, and 10th. We'll be there. We will be there on Saturday the 9th. So if you are, I was going to say near Minnesota, but if you're anywhere in the world and you want to fly to or come to Minneapolis, St. Paul, we will be at Twin Cities Con. Hayden Christensen will be there. Ian McDermott will be there. And all the other people. So Timothy Zahn and Mark Thompson will be there. I'm excited to see Mark Thompson and
Timothy Zahn.
I'm going to go see them. But
you're not going to go see Hayden?
Not if it's $300, like the rumor is that you heard. So yeah. I don't know. But yep. So if you want to go, be there. Come on over. We love to see you, hang out with you. If we run into you, I don't know if we get like a big group of people saying they're coming, then maybe we'll do like a little meet and greet or something. But yeah,
come out, go spend money to get a picture signed with Hayden.
Or you could also, for a cheaper price, get a picture taken with me and Drew. That's $10 a person. A picture.
Whoa! I was gonna say free, but
well, we gotta make $1 somehow, right?
But they can buy his pizza. That's all I care about.
Is there like food at this place that you can buy?
Yeah, there's like food trucks, I think, around, and then there's like their thing. But
they have like concession stands there.
Yeah, like but we could walk out and
I know,
go
but
anywhere
I've
downtown.
never. No, it's Minneapolis. I'm kind of scared of that place. But
you're really pitching this.
That's the announcement.
Them to come out.
So we might as well just jump into this book. So who wants to go first? Who wants to give their overall thoughts first?
You.
Me?
I want you to go first today.
So at first, I kind of didn't like it because like it was. I'm like, so this takes place during the Clone Wars, mostly following a Jedi Padawan who becomes a Jedi Knight, and then Order 66 happens, and then they become Inquisitor. Spoiler. So, like, a lot of the book, most of the book was kind of like her having an internal struggle with the Jedi Order and the war and how she's treated by the Jedi. I'm like, we've heard all these problems with the Jedi before. We've discussed countless hours. There's nothing new. Like, it was kind of a little bit boring. There's a little bit of mystery, but like, okay, I was kind of just bored with it. And then like I started to like understand better the structure of the book, where like we're bored with it because we've heard it a million times, but it's like the main character, Icarus, like she is bored with the Jedi Order. She's stuck in the Jedi Temple for most of the Clone Wars by doing stuff that she doesn't want to do, and she's bored. And then things get more interesting, and then that's when I got more interested, when Icarus was getting more interested in doing things that she wanted to do. So it's like the book actually got better and better for me because like the structure of the book is kind of like how we already understand Star Wars as like we see the problems with the Jedi. This is boring. There's nothing new, but that was the mundanity that she was going through, and then it gets a lot better when the action happens, when her fall happens, when she becomes an Inquisitor. So I actually kind of really like this book. Maybe one of my like more favorite books actually that we've read. Um, but and there's some like new things in there. We have a little bit of continuity issues we gotta go over a little bit, but um, I don't know. I liked it. Drew, what do you think?
It was okay. I think it's definitely like one of my least favorite books.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
For the same reasons you said. Half the book didn't matter, like it was whatever. And then like we know that there's like parts of the Jedi order like I don't know, like I okay, so like the structure of the book I didn't like. I didn't like that we're building this character up for over half of the book for her to finally be she doesn't even turn to the dark side. She kind of just gets forced into it in order to survive, kind of. And then the way she did it was just like it was just like from 0 to 100, I felt like she was having her problems, but then all of a sudden she's like, "Yeah, I just want to kill everything in my path, and I'm so thirsty." And then her relationship with that guy was super annoying.
Schwallen?
It was so annoying. It was just the most annoying thing. And then when it got to the point where they actually had a relationship, they didn't even tell us about it. They just skipped over it. So like this entire book, you're building up to this like couple relationship, and then all of a sudden it's just like, oh yeah, by the way, they're a couple for like
Yeah,
2
but
chapters or
like that
whatever.
wasn't the point of the book, so that's why they didn't go over. It's not like the last book we read, The Temptation of the Force, where it was 100% a love story.
True.
That was just
Which
like a side thing.
it was too much for that book.
Which because it was a side thing, it wasn't necessary. You know how I feel about meaningless romance.
Yeah, well, what's what I'm saying. Like because it like built up and then it was not necessary because they literally ended that relationship in one chapter where they were just like flirting, but then like that was it. And like they kind of hinted at something, and then it did like the prologue or whatever it is,
The epilogue.
epilogue, and then all of a sudden they're a couple, and they're like are fighting Vader together. And it was just like, this is stupid. And then that whole ending on how they died was just lame. Like, I just thought it was dumb. So, like, I don't know. Like, there's parts of it I liked, but now, like, I literally finished it today. And, like, now I can just think of that ending and I can't even remember the good things. And I read this book in 2 days. Like, it's not
Oh,
like,
so you rushed through it super
no, I
fast.
just listened to it.
Yeah, but you still went super fast. Like, what was your
Yeah.
speed on that?
1.5. Wasn't that fast. And, like, there's parts that I liked. It was just, like, overall, I just didn't really enjoy, like the I don't know, like, honestly, in my opinion, they shoulda ended it before the prologue.
The epilogue.
The epilogue, sorry, I keep saying prologue. The epilogue. If they woulda ended it there and not gave us the epilogue, I actually probably woulda liked it more. And, like, they woulda just had, like, a strip like, "Oh, she ended up dying. She fell into the dark and she died." Like, I don't know, like, because then she got bored of being a Sith, like bored of being a bad guy, and like just wants to go make out with her new boyfriend on a different planet. Like that was like the whole book. I'm like, this is stupid. Like you built up this whole character to rise her to the red blade. She becomes a very bad guy. She's killing a bunch of people. She kidnaps babies out of mom's arms, and then she dies because she ends up having an attachment at the end of the day to that same guy that she liked in the beginning of the book, and they fight Vader and they die. Like this is stupid. It was dumb. So I don't know. I know a lot of people like this book, I think, but I don't know. It was not my favorite one so far, for sure.
But without the ending,
I liked it. I thought there was good parts.
But
Like
so you can't just say that everything else the book is like not good because the ending is.
Jeremiah, you know me. If it doesn't have like, there could be one thing that makes me love this book, and there could be one thing that kills it, and that whole ending thing just killed it for me.
Well, hopefully I can maybe convince you to
Like,
like the book
yeah,
more.
you all have to help me remember the good things because I just can just picture like the whole flying scene and them on speeders, and
But it was okay. We'll get to the end later. But I think it's better than you realize because there's one little line that makes it more
oh, and
entertaining for me.
also I feel like at the end of it, I didn't care about her at all. And I don't know if the
She's a bad
author
guy.
was.
You're not supposed to care.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know what the author was trying to get to it, but then I'm like, dude, hurry up! Like, I have 4 hours left. Hurry up and die! Like, why are we taking so long for you to die? Like, it's gonna happen. Just get me there.
Oh dang!
Like,
Someone
that's
just
literally how it felt towards the end of the book. I was like, why do we have 4 more hours of her not dying yet? Like, just do it, because you're gonna. Every Inquisitor ends up dying. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I think the build up to her character and why she turned, parts of it was good, and also I feel like a lot of it was just like her just being a baby. So I don't know. It's hard. Hopefully you can
uh,
fix it for me. Like I said,
okay.
it's not the worst book. I think the last book was the worst one. The last High Republic book was awful.
I I don't know.
I think that one was worse than this one.
I think that last book was one of the best well written books. It just didn't have any point at the end
Point.
of the day.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It didn't do anything.
But
We gotta read good books. Like the entire time I read this, I'm like, dude, Valentine's Day cannot come fast
oh yeah,
enough for me.
I gotta
Yeah, I'm
buy
just
that.
like, oh my gosh, hurry up, Valentine's
I
Day,
hope I
because
hate that book.
dude, there's no way,
I
bro.
hope
There's
there's gonna
no
be
way.
one little thing that I hate, and I'm gonna say this is the worst book ever because of
If
this
you
one
hate that
little.
book, dude, I'll be so mad.
I'll be.
Granted, I've been hyping it up so much for you, but
I gotta I gotta get an audiobook version of that too. So which
yeah,
I can't
it's
get
just gonna
anymore.
be
So
hard to get. We'll figure
all
it out.
right, well we might as well go through the story. So Iskat Akaris is the main character, and she is a 18-year-old Jedi Padawan, and her master is Sember Vey. And book starts out they're just on a mission, and Sember Vey is someone who likes to collect artifacts, Jedi artifacts, and also Sith artifacts that then get taken and put into a vault or hidden away so they can't be used for evil purposes. And Iskat is just on the ride, doing, following, whatever. But throughout this beginning of the book, she's kind of bored with doing these treasure hunt basically things, traveling, just getting artifacts, not doing anything. She's antsy, she wants to do more, and this is kind of like the theme of her character throughout the whole book, until she actually becomes Inquisitor. But she's just felt like she's being held back, not doing anything with her life, not really getting the training that she wants, because Sember is just super chill, quiet. She's like a more academic, studious person, and Iskat is more like, let's get something done. So they're on this mission, whatever. They go do it, whatever. They get it's like a book that ends up being like a Sith book or something like that. And but she feels like a pull to it. She's intrigued by it, that type of thing. So they go back to Coruscant and just doing their stuff in the temple, and a big giant meeting is called, and it is a call to all the Jedi that are at the temple to be, we're going to Geonosis because Obi-Wan Kenobi, Padme, and Anakin Skywalker are all held hostage, and we need to go save them. And so, okay, cool. We're just jumping right into this. I didn't know like where we were going to get into the story, where it started, or how closely related it was going to be to your Clone Wars. But we get to see the Battle of Geonosis from a different point of view, which is kind of cool.
I like this part.
And so there's one continuity issue
Ooh,
with this. And when I was looking it up on Wikipedia, like they said, this is a continuity issue that
Okay.
contradicts the movie. But because I noticed it too when I was reading it, but when Iskat and the Jedi's that she's with are going to um, Geonosis, and they're like on the planet, like going down to the surface, it's being flown by a clone, the ship,
Mm-hmm.
which in the movie the clones don't arrive until Yoda brings them after the fight is
Oh
hopeless
yeah,
at the end. And so
I forgot about that.
because like
Because she's even talking about the clones in this part too, right?
right, because she's like, oh, there's the pilot's a clone, but I don't know what he looks like because they're in their helmets. And I'm like, but I thought like Yoda went separate to go
I totally forgot
investigate the
about that.
clones, and no one saw clones until Yoda arrived. Um, and so I guess that's just a continuity issue.
It is just
So it's just a minor thing. It's just the pilot of the ship, so it's not a big deal. So movies and shows take canon precedence over books, so we can just say it was just a pilot. But that was just the main minor continuity
is that
issue.
the only one in this book?
Like something major, like that's not, it's not even major, but just like a notable thing. The other thing is just like it seems like this book implied that the Clone Wars was only 2 years long when it was actually three
Yeah,
years.
that's why I was like, I don't think it's 2 years long. I thought it was way longer than that.
It was 3 years, but like because she studies at the temple, she's stuck in the temple for 2 years. But like I
Dude,
guess
she has a
from the
year of traveling.
I don't know, it was just kind of confusing. But that was this. Those are like the two main things I believe. But yes, so Iskat and her master Sember, and then she's with Master Clephon, and then some other Padawans and stuff are with them, and their mission is to establish a perimeter around the arena and kind of like go in and then like take out like the cannons or something that are inside the arena and all that jazz.
Hmm.
And so they're um, as they descend into the tunnels and stuff, they get attacked by Geonosians, and we get a scene where it's kind of like Iskat's hallway scene, where she's in a tunnel. There's a Jedi Master and a Padawan on the end of the hallway or whatever. They're about to get stormed by all these Geonosians, and Iskat just lets it loose and kills like a dozen Geonosians just like with zero effort. Like it was just easy for her to like let loose and do it. I'm like, oh dang, she's kind of flirting with that dark side a little bit, like easily, like wanting to kill. Like that's not a big deal
Once
type
she
of thing.
did, she was happy.
Yeah, and so that happens, and then they enter the arena. Now we're skipping over a bunch of stuff because there's a lot of little things that happen in this book, so we're kind of gonna hit the main points.
Well,
But
and like, well, one of the big things though is one of those Jedi's that we find later on in the book. She was scared of her after she did it because she like just she felt like she just wanted to do it or whatever.
well, everyone was scared. All the younger ones were scared because of something earlier that happened in her life, which we'll get to. That
Which
was
they
like the
don't
main
tell
thing.
you right away. They tell you later on.
Yeah, it's like well, I think it's like within the next first like 10 chapters they tell what happened, but
Mm. Also,
um
another thing that bothered me about this book, real quick, the writer was too lazy to write chapter names.
yeah, but not every book has chapter
I'm just
names.
saying, like, what 1, 2, 3, part 2, part 1, 2. Like, I was like,
What's the big problem? Who cares?
I don't know. That just bothered me.
Most
I feel like it
a
would
lot of
bother you.
we have Star Wars books that we read that don't have chapter names.
I don't think so.
You have the High Republic books have chapter names, but like I don't think Master and Apprentice had one. I don't think
I'm pretty sure it did.
Ahsoka had them. I don't think.
Well, I know my favorite book has chapter names. So
Oh, I don't care. So moving on.
none of the Thrawn books have chapter names. Okay, never mind. It's fine. I'll let it slide then. Doesn't bother me anymore. Timothy Zahn did it first, and it's okay. I approve.
Yep. So they after the hallway scene or whatever, like her group, goes into the arena, and they're watching like the fight down below, like Anakin and Obi-Wan and Padme. They're fighting down there, and then that's all the Jedi show up, and their mission is to take out the cannons. They take out Sember takes out one of the cannons or whatever. But in this part of the fight, Sember, her master, gets shot, falls over a ledge, I think a little bit, falls down, dies. But Iskat runs to her, like, to help see if she's still alive or whatever. And in her final moments, Sember says, "I'm sorry I failed you, Feyre," or whatever, like this name Feyre, like who's this Feyre? And then Sember dies. And they have to run and leave the body behind. And the battle's over. You watched the movie. If you haven't, what are you doing with your life? Go watch the movies. So that's what happens. So then, like, then afterwards, it's like the impact of, she doesn't have a master, and it's like, what is she going to do now? So that's kind of like what follows after this. And so I thought it was cool seeing like the Battle of Geonosis from a different angle. Because like we see all the lightsabers turn on like all around the arena, like in the stands and stuff, and that was one of those people was Sember Vey and stuff.
You
So that
gotta
was
look
kind of
and see if you see a red faced lady.
yep, definitely gotta do that. Yep.
Probably don't.
But so we do find out that about 200 Jedi died during the Battle of Geonosis. Like I didn't realize it was that many were there.
Well,
Which
you
I
got to
feel
remember though, they just started straight up fighting. Like the war started that day.
right, but I didn't think there was that many Jedi there. Like down in the bottom, like arena, like there's like I don't know, you see like 50 of them, and then you see like
Well, doesn't Boba kill a couple too, or Jingo?
I'm sure he does, but like I just didn't think that there were that many
Yeah, yeah. That was one thing that surprised me is like they literally made everyone go.
that were
Like
like available like at the temple. I
that
think everyone that was
weren't
at the temple,
and that weren't younglings literally got shipped on this one mission,
right?
which was kind of surprising to me.
Which we get they kind of like reference a lot, but like they kind of like imply that there's a shortage of Jedi because of the
Mhm.
war, but like that was another like what's the continuity because Obi-Wan Kenobi says I think it was in episode 4 that there were 10,000 Jedi in the galaxy, but like 200 died and then there's a shortage of Jedi. Like I know they specifically said a shortage of Jedi masters,
Mhm.
but like I didn't think that 200 Jedi that die, most of them might have been masters, but like after that, there's not a lot of masters left in the 10,000. Like,
And also, that means the masters died to robots and bugs. They're not really great masters to begin with.
okay. First of all, they were way outnumbered and surrounded by like
I'm
20 to
just
one.
saying, if you're a bastard, 200 people died that day,
Oh, they were
and
overwhelmed by numbers.
90 or 157 of them are masters. That's pretty bad.
Well, yeah, but look at Order 66. One Jedi Master or Council member surrounded by 10 clones gets killed. Like, so if like you have
But clones and
thousands of
droids are different.
Geonosins and droids all shooting at you at one time, like it makes sense.
Yeah, I
So
guess.
I don't think it was
No,
implausible.
I'm not saying it's impossible. I just think it's kind of like, to your point, like to say that there's a shortage. And like in this whole book, like she's not even allowed to leave to go get some more artifacts later on because there's not enough people around. But then they let her stay there for 2 years and not actually ever go on a mission. So I don't know if there's and I've it made it almost feel like there wasn't an actual shortage. It was more like they didn't trust her.
Well, that's the whole point. We'll get to it, but she failed, like on the mission. She cost people's lives so that they don't believe that she can be out in the field doing missions. That's the whole reason she's at the temple.
But who did she fail? I don't remember. I thought she just
When they blow up that droid factory and kill all those innocent people, and
oh yes.
she wasn't supposed to blow up the factory, and she killed those innocent people, like they blame her for the failure of that mission and the loss of innocent life. So they're like, we can't trust you going out in the field and
Mhm.
doing things until we see that you can control your emotions and you're responsible enough to do stuff. So they have her train younglings, which we'll get to. So, um, but yeah, so like after the Battle of Geonosis, like when she's back at the temple, she hears the words from the people like rejoice that your master has become one with the Force. This is a good thing and stuff like that. She just gets upset with, like, that doesn't help. That doesn't make me feel better. Like, I'm not going to rejoice in this, seeing all these Jedi die, and like this is kind of like her like having problems with the Jedi way and like their codes and their way of life. Like all of it's kind of lame and stupid to her. Like it's all means nothing to her, and she's just kind of internalizing this and keeping it to herself.
Mhm.
Um, and it's like it just keeps boiling and boiling and boiling until it eventually she explodes when she's getting given the opportunity to become an Inquisitor. But like that's the first thing where she like was, I'm not happy with the Jedi. Like I'm not going to be happy that my master is dead, type of thing. Um, and so after this, she goes to um, Sember's living quarters, and she's given a task to like clean out her room and get rid of her things and put things in storage or whatever. And while she's doing it, she finds a lightsaber, and it's eerily similar to her own lightsaber because her species has extra long fingers, so they have like a thicker hilt to accommodate the bigger hands. And she's like, "This is the same style that I use. It's a much thicker thing. Like, who like is this possibly Feyre's? Like, who is this Feyre person? Like, was she the same species as me? Like, what's going on?" And so that's like the part of the mystery. That's kind of who is this person. Um, and it's to the point where she's told like, oh, now your master has died. You're gonna have to wait until another Jedi wants to claim you as their Padawan. And so she's kind of like waiting around the temple, just doing little things here and there, not doing much, just kind of waiting and waiting for like multiple weeks. And she's like, what's going on? Like, why doesn't anybody want me? Type of thing. And then eventually what happens is all these Padawans get called to like a meeting, and they're like, we know typically you gotta go through the Jedi trials, but we need more Jedi Knights. So congratulations, move your tassels to the other side. You're graduated. You are a Jedi Knight. And this is actually the same ceremony that Anakin was
Mhm.
promoted to become a Jedi Knight. So it's like that was always something that we never saw. Like even the Clone Wars, like you know, when did he become a Jedi Knight officially? Because we don't see it in the Clone Wars or the movies. But I guess it was in like this 3 week span, 4 week span after the Battle of Geonosis that Anakin was able to become a Jedi Knight. And so, because she is now a Jedi Knight, she is now allowed to go on missions for the Clone Wars. And so, so Tualin is a Twi'lek that she grew up as a Padawan with. He is like an all black Twi'lek, which we've never seen before. It's like straight. I've looked him up, and there's like he's in comics, and it's like literally like straight black,
Oh,
like
is he in
skin.
comics?
Yeah, he's in some of the like I don't know if he's like a mink, but he's just like in him. So he's a straight black skin, which we've never seen. Usually, like
That's pretty
Twi'leks
cool.
are bright, colors like blue or yellow or green or something like that. So they grew up as Padawans together, and you know, Iskat kind of had a little thing for Tualin, but they never really talked about it because they're not supposed to, because whatever. And they also on this mission, someone named Jask, and so their mission there's a Jedi or a droid factory that they have to go to, and they're not supposed to destroy it. They're not supposed to blow it up. They're supposed to like disable like kind of. I'm seemed like it was like the computer system, so that like it would corrupt the system, so they couldn't run the factory. That way, at a later date, the Jedi could go into this factory and maybe hack into it and extract information and stuff like that. Um, so they go on this mission, and part of the mission is they have to like climb up these walls or whatever. And so Tualan is with his clones on one side, and Iscat with this Joss guy are climbing up on one side. And there's like these bird bat things or whatever that fly out of a hole and attack Josk, and he falls to his death. And it kind of seemed like Iscat had a chance to like catch him with the Force, but like her excuse was because he's the lead on this thing, on this mission, and she was not happy about that. And so like she had the opportunity to maybe catch him, but her excuse was like it happened so fast, like all these bird bat things they could have attacked me too, so like I had to like concentrate on not falling myself. And he falls to his death, and they believe that the bird bat things had like poison, and so they believe that he was dead before he even hit the ground.
Yeah.
So like she's like, oh look, like I don't have to feel bad, he would have died anyway, type of thing.
But
And
she did
so
not try to save him.
did not. But it was kind of like that gray area where like, did she purpose? I don't think she consciously chose not to save
She
him,
was in shock.
but like she wasn't like eager to like try and save him, type of thing. But like she didn't know herself if she purposely let him die or not. It seemed like, but she
Hmm.
just used the excuse like to rid it away, like to kind of like bury her feelings on that. But the mission is still a go. They have to continue on, and they got bad intel. They said this factory was going to be pretty much empty, but when they get there, it's full of B1 battle droids, some B2 super battle droids, and Iscat's squad of clones, all but one die, type of thing. And they're trying to. She's like, "We gotta continue this mission," like blah blah blah. But because they didn't have enough, all the clones died. Like they couldn't like do a certain sequence to like shut down this factory, so she just kind of improvised. And at the end of the day, she blew up the whole factory because like she wasn't able to do the corrupt thing, shutdown thing the way they wanted to. She's like, well, best option, we gotta blow it up. At least that's a partial win. I'm sure the Jedi Council will be happy with me. And spoiler alert, they're not happy. And so obviously we knew that was gonna come, but they were very unhappy because there were people working in tunnels underneath this factory, the civilian workers, and she didn't know what. She's like, well, we didn't know that. There was not enough intel to like know that. Like, if I knew that there were innocent people underneath the factory, I wouldn't have blown it up, type of thing. And the council was like, that's not a good enough answer, so you're grounded
For 2 years.
until we're gonna make you teach the younglings for 2 years. Or they didn't say for 2 years. It's until you're ready. We feel you're ready to take on more responsibilities, go on a mission. So during this 2 years, she's just kind of like realizing I'm just gonna play the part. I'm gonna be the perfect Jedi. I'm gonna make the Jedi Council think that I'm good, that I'm a good and faithful Jedi until I can do what I want to do, type of thing. And um, during these 2 years, there's a temple, or in the temple, there's a garden that she likes to go to meditate. And I didn't know this. I don't know if you knew this, but there were like temple staff that were not Jedi. They were just like people that they hired to work. And there was like a droid smith guy named Hizo. And he would go into the temple, like the garden, temple garden, where she liked to meditate. And so they kind of built a friendship. And it was interesting because she really opened up to him because he wasn't a Jedi, and so like she didn't have to like hide her true feelings, so they could just talk. And like he'd give her like advice, like you can do whatever you want. You don't have to listen to the council. Like you can do what you want. Um, and she's like, well, you have all these secrets, there's like these secret corridors for the staff. Like I hear there's like secret things in the Jedi archives where to keep the dark side stuff. He's like, yeah, there's some secret rooms hidden down there, blah blah blah. Like I've been there, type of thing. So let me ask you. So later on in the book, we find out that he was a spy for Palpatine. Did you suspect him being a spy at all until the reveal?
Yes and no. I think I knew something was up. I didn't know if it was though for Palpatine or Dooku or not Dooku. Mace Windu.
Oh,
Like I knew that he was being shady, but for some reason I thought at first that it was for Mace Windu because she was always talking about like Mace Windu always she felt like he was always watching her and stuff like that. So like it would have made sense that like when she was saying certain things that were on the fence of good or bad kind of thing, and she always like vented to this dude, like it would make sense if she told Mace and Mace was like, well, she can stay here longer then,
right,
or I'm not gonna give her a mission. So like throughout that conversation, I'm like, I feel like he's being shady and he is actually telling, or and then later on I was like, or he's a bad guy and he is a spy because he knows a lot about the Force and like certain things that he's being shady about. So then towards the end, before we find out for sure, I was leaning more towards like he was Palpatine's guy. And before, even like before they described, or like I forgot what they described him to be like. I was like, what if this was like Palpatine's blue guy, whatever his name is?
oh no, because
So
they
like
described this guy kind of like a
it's like furry,
feline, like a
yeah,
cat, kind of like a
like an Ewok or something.
Zygerian, but
Oh yeah,
not a Zygerian. They named the species, but I forget what it was. But it's like he's the only species of kind of the species that we've seen. So
yeah. Hmm.
there's nothing really to compare it to. But he was kind of like a white. I think he was white and he was kind of like a cat, kind of.
And he was a Jedi.
So we do find out later on that he was a Jedi that failed, Jedi Padawan that failed the Jedi trials. Like
Mhm.
that's like a thing that I wish that we knew more about, were the Jedi trials, like what that exactly is. So
Yeah,
apparently, if
because
you don't pass them, it's not like, oh, we'll try again next year. No, it's sorry, you're done.
you're done.
Like, oh,
But then they also, like, offer you a job to
yeah.
stay
So he just got a
there.
job as a droid smith.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, but when I knew there's more to him, but like I remember like reading this book, and I'm like, you know, she's gonna get recruited into the Inquisitorius, but like, how does Palpatine recruit these people without like knowing? So I'm like, does he have like spies in the Jedi Temple? But I never like connected it to Hizo, which now looking back, like obviously it was super obvious,
Yeah, it's pretty obvious
but
looking back at it.
like
Like I said, I thought he was a spy, but I thought he was Mace
I never
Windu's
thought
spy the whole
that would have been
time.
cool. I wish I would have like had that theory also, that it was
Yeah.
spying for the Jedi, and then I get turned around like, oh dang, it was actually the Sith
Yeah,
planet up
because
there.
that's why I was like, "Oh, shoot." Like, he is, but for the wrong person. But, like, yeah, because I was thinking the whole time, like, someone's keeping an eye on her. And everyone else is busy like leaving and doing missions and stuff like that. So someone's got to be watching her, and it's not that old Jedi who like just wants to sunbathe all the time. So,
Cleefan.
hmm
Yep. But
his
like,
character was
yeah.
yeah.
So so for 2 years she's training these younglings and just playing the part, but at the same time she was training. and researching and studying in secret as much as she could to like advance her own skills, and a lot of it had to do with like lightsaber dueling, and because she now that she has like that other lightsaber that she found, like she didn't use it, but like she was able to get another lightsaber so she could like train with two sabers to like dual wield. And I
Mm.
thought it was cool, like how there was a Pong Krell name drop because he used two lightsabers. There's also the mention of Ahsoka, or not Ahsoka, but
Anakin's
Anakin's
Padawan
Padawan, like
training.
could give some. They like ran into each other a couple times, and like she gave some pointers to Iscat, but like she was always too busy like on missions with Anakin and stuff. I'm
Yeah.
like, this is kind of cool. And then we also got like Keller and Beck name drop
Mm-hmm.
also. But like, and there was like another time like because like
There's a lot of in the beginning. There's a lot of Yoda.
there's a little bit of Yoda.
Also, the voice actor not near as good as what's his
Well,
name.
Mark Thompson's a goat. It was weird having. This was the first audiobook I listened to where it was a female narrator,
Yeah.
and so like it was hard to like. As I went on, like I could hear her differences in the character voices, but for like the first half of the book, I was like everyone sounds the same, so it was kind of hard for me to like. I had to really pay attention when I was reading like who's talking.
I
'Cause I
felt
couldn't.
like throughout the book she got better.
Oh, I don't know if she got better. I just think we picked up on like the nuances of the voices.
Mm.
Like her best one was Tualin because Twi'leks have that French accent, and she really had the French accent with
She
him.
did good with the French accent.
Yeah, so Tualin was probably her best. Um,
Yoda
like
was rough. Yoda was rough.
most people's Yodas are always off because he's so distinct. Like
Yeah.
now the Vader one was weird because they clearly
Dubbed over with like.
they I don't it was probably her, but they just put it through a voice changing
Mm-hmm.
thing. But I feel like this book came out last year. Like they should be
Really?
able to.
It's that new? I thought this book was old.
No, I think it came out. Well, it came out like a year and a half ago, so it was like not just like
I thought this was an older book, like one of
no
the first
this
ones they made.
no. Let me see if I can find the date on this book. It says 2023, so it was last year.
Oh wow.
But like they should be able to have AI. They use it for Kenobi.
I
With
mean,
like they should be able to just type in
honestly,
text into a computer and it pops out James Earl Jones.
honestly, at this point they can do that with every book narrator.
Could,
But
but
it's
I don't know.
also
I thought she did fine.
no. I thought she did good. Maybe you're right. Maybe like I felt like the beginning was a little rough, and I got used to it and it was fine.
Right. Because like I said, by the end of the book, all the different character voices, like I could recognize her different
Her
ways. But
Palpatine was a little rough too, but
I don't know.
that's whatever.
He's a little rough on his own. So that skin, he needs to get some lotion. But that was a bad joke. Sorry, kids. Yep. So she's training on her own. She's becoming better with the Force, but she's not showing anyone. So it's like all in secret. But she's never had an opportunity to like use this new training. So she's like getting more and more antsy, more and more mad at the Jedi, not letting her be anything. Well, first of all, stop training so much, and then it's inflating your hatred for the Jedi because you're doing all this stuff in secret. But eventually, she's allowed to go on a mission after 2 years, and she gets to go on a mission with guess who? Tualin. And it's the same Jedi Captain Spider or Commander, or the Commander or Captain, I can't remember.
Captain.
But it was Spider was what he went by. Same one that was on that first mission to that
Also, apparently
droid
he had like
factory.
a giant spider on his helmet, which
Did
seems
he?
like it would probably. That's what they said in the beginning.
Oh, makes sense if
So
that's what his
I
name
feel like
is.
that helmet would look dope.
You could get one custom made, maybe get a big spider on it.
Spray painted Black Widow on it.
That'd be kind of cool. Um, so their mission is to go to Olgothan 3, which is way out in the Outer Rim. And it was, we've always like, how long does it take to get from one point to one point via hyperspace? This one was a 4-day travel in hyperspace. I'm like, dang. So there's like some,
I
when
kind of
it's,
like that.
yeah, like those ones that are way out there in the Outer Rim, like that takes, 3-4 days to get to. This one was way out there. So that was kind of cool to get that little detail. And their mission is, there's this rumor, I think it was like referred to like as a slicer, someone who could like hack into droids and hack through computer stuff. Like there's a there's a slicer on this planet. You need to track this person down because it seems like the separatists are also looking for this individual, and if we can get this individual to join the Republic, that could be very helpful. Um, and this when they arrive, there's a they're calmed from someone from the planet, and this is they use another like voice changer on this one. Um, Clearly wasn't just straight the the narrator because it was like super
A
low,
robot.
like robotic type thing. Um, and they're like, the speaker's like, we got all our weapons pointed at you, surface the space missiles and stuff, and I got starships ready to go. You're not supposed to be here. What is your plan? Like, what's going on? And they're like, oh, we need to refuel. I'm like, sorry, don't buy it. We're gonna shoot you down if you don't leave.
We don't have fuel because we're a moon
Something
with
like that. Like,
nothing on it.
there's nothing for you here. Just leave. And you know, the clones and Iscat and Tulan are like, you don't have anything, but you have all of these weapons that are like gonna like shoot us down. It's like whatever. So they left and like went to like another nearby planet or whatever to like talk about it or whatever. It's like, oh, we got a better idea. We'll just circle around to the opposite side of the planet or moon or whatever, and then we'll just sneak in that way. So they sneak around and they get there, and same alarms go off. The same guy. Oh, you thought you could sneak around? Nope, I got my weapons aimed at you. And like, what is your true intentions here? And you know, Tualan, he's on the lead on this mission, and he's just not knowing what he's doing. So it's Cat. I'm like, I've had enough. She grabs the mic, the comlink thing or whatever, and is like, tell us the truth. We're Jedi. There's a slicer here that we're trying to find.
Well, she didn't say they're Jedi. Not
Uh,
until she sees them.
I thought she
She
gave
just
us the
said that
full truth because
we're
she's like the separatists are trying to look for you, but we want or because like the Republic wants to recruit you
we're here
instead.
from the Republic. They didn't say that they're Jedi yet. Because later on, when they land, then she realizes that they're Jedi, and then that's when she decides that I should go with them. Either it doesn't matter, it's whatever.
Right.
But either way,
Um.
they pretty much are like she got fed up of waiting for this because he was trying to call back to Coruscant
Oh yeah, because
to
like,
quit pretty much because he didn't know how to go without getting blown
and
up.
because they're so far away, it takes forever for them to make the
The signal
call.
wasn't working.
So like, that's so this gets like, I've had enough. So because she tells the truth, um, this individual says, "All right, you can come on down. Here's some coordinates." And this individual's name is Gintho. And did you notice the species that this Gintho is?
I forgot
An
already.
Anzillion, which is Babu Frick's species. And he's in a giant mech suit, or she is in a
Mhm.
giant mech suit. So it's kind of funny because we see in the Mandalorian season 3 the Anzillians driving around IG-11 when they rebuilt
Mhm.
them. But this is like the same thing where this little Anzillian woman is inside this giant mech suit. And like, this is my planet. Like, what do you have to offer me? Type of thing. Blah blah blah. And during this whole time, like when they got back, like a big shield gets put around them. So like the Jedi
She
and
captures them essentially.
are trapped. They can't attack or anything. And Gintho is like, well, I'm gonna go back to my place and like hut or whatever that's like right there to like get my stuff or something. And while they're waiting, some
Well, at
giant
first she
monsters
says
show
like the
up.
moon is hungry,
Yeah,
so stay put.
or say be aware or whatever. So while they're waiting, Iscat, who her as a species has very heightened
Senses.
senses, and we should mention she doesn't know what species she is. Like no one knows her species. Like no doesn't know where she comes from. No one like even like in that first chapter, like it says like all these other people that they run into, like when they're looking for like artifacts and stuff, they're like thinks she's a Devorian, or like they mentioned another species that has like red skin, but like
Honestly, I thought that was the coolest thing about the whole story was the mystery behind her species.
right. So that's keep that in mind for those of you who read the book because it's about to come up in a moment.
Yeah.
But while they're trapped behind this shield or whatever, this cat with her senses and the force can feel and hear something is coming, and giant monster comes and she's like, all right, let's stretch my arms and take out this thing. So she kills this thing immediately, um, and she slices through the belly, which supposedly was very very smelly, like terrible. So when others came, another one came, and Tualan was able to kill that one with his saber, but he didn't cut the belly. So all this is happening, and then Ginto's like, all right, let's go. I'm ready. I'll go with you guys. And as they're leaving, Ginto's like, your Pecoran friend, or whatever, is pretty good, or whatever. And she's like, what did you just call me?
That was the
Yeah,
end of the
you're a
chapter.
Pecori from the planet, or you're a Pecorian from the planet Pecori. Like, I never knew that. No one ever knew who I was. Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, shocked, whatever. Like, all right, cool. We're going to get some information. We're gonna get some. Who's this Farah? Is this Farah also a Picorian? Is this their mother? We don't know.
Also, how far into this is like really far into the book at this point too, guys. Like we're going through it a little quick, but like this is like what
Well, I can
in the
kind of.
30s chapters at least,
So
right?
there was 42 chapters plus the epilogue, and this takes place chapter 22 and 23. So like
Yeah.
halfway through. Um, and so I'm like, cool, we got some information. So the mission was a success, and they go back to Coruscant and they tell the report. And Tualan says to the Jedi Council, or I think it was just Yoda and Mace were there.
They
He's
like
like,
take them
yeah,
off of it right away.
well,
The
they're like
plane.
we
The
did a good job, like we got it done. But like he like shared the success with his cat, and that made her angry. She didn't like that. Um,
sounds like Anakin.
yep. Um, so another detail that we should mention that's kind of during like those 2 years span that where she was kind of stuck at the temple, she'd be on escort duty anytime that Chancellor Palpatine went to the Jedi Temple to talk with the Jedi Council. So she had these interactions with Chancellor Palpatine where she kind of, expressed her issues with the Jedi a little bit and stuff like that. So this is how Palpatine gets to like interact with her face to face, apart from Hezo, feeding Palpatine information after they talk. So I thought that was cool that like he like many times through span of 2 years was able to like plant a seed in her or whatever and get that information from her and kind of like I think he said something like, I wish there were more Jedi like you or something like that. He said to her once, and so
Yeah, he was like brainwashing her too.
a little bit, yep. Um, so she learns out about this Picorian species. Finding out that they're in wild space, which I'm confused on whether or not wild space is the same as the unknown regions. I can't remember if they're the same or
I
if there's
think it
overlap.
is.
I tried looking it up, but like it was kind of confusing. I think it's like some of it is charted, but there's
Some of it's wild.
Some of it's not, like it's part of the unknown regions or whatever, but it's so far out there, like not a lot of people know about it. Um, and so she,
It's past the outer rim. Like
it's way out there, and so she wants to go search for this planet, and go there, and so she like it's lunchtime or whatever, and Mace Windu's sitting in the lunch hall, like lunchroom, like by himself apparently, like is eating his whatever they're eating, and this cat's like, I got an idea. I want to
protein paste.
go on a mission to like a personal project to go see my people. But she says to Mace, well, my master Sember before she died had this one lead on this one item that we never got because it was just before the Clone Wars Battle of Geonosis, and I would like to make a personal mission to like complete her legacy, her story, to get this one last item that we had a lead on. And Mace was like, "No, sorry, no, step in line. I'm in charge.
We don't have enough Jedi here.
We don't
Why
got
are
enough
you even
Jedi."
questioning to leave?
Yep, classic Mace Windu. And so she's not able to sneak out to find her home at all and get answers.
Which okay, so in hindsight, do you think if she was able to go then that she would have been saved?
I think she might have, when she got there, she would have stayed and never left.
I think so too. Also, it was very close to Order 66, wasn't it? When she inquired on going over there.
Right, because right after this, she gets sent on her next mission, which is
When it
which
happens.
is one of the confusing things, is because it was like a month after Battle of Geonosis is when she becomes knighted. Then she goes on that first mission, and then it's 2 years. Well, we still got 11 more months. But then the next mission that she goes on and is when Order 66 happens. So
Your
I,
Star Wars math isn't adding up.
it's not adding up. But they also didn't like explain like every time period of like
Gaps.
gaps. So I don't know.
But she could have been there when Order 66 happened and was free and could have stayed there.
Yeah. So
Unless Palpatine potentially could have went and tried to hunt her down.
he wouldn't do that himself, I don't think.
Well, no, not him. But like maybe
Send
I don't.
Hizo.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Mace Windu says no, you can't go on your personal mission. But soon after this, she gets sent on another mission, which is a very interesting mission because this also doesn't fully make sense, because her, Tualin, and another Jedi, Sunji, or something like that, they're on a mission because they got a lead on General Grievous.
Yeah, this part didn't make sense to me at all.
So, like, maybe going back, if I went back, like, maybe it was like they were on in hyperspace for a couple days again. So, like, they got another lead on Grievous, and that's when they send, Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan over there.
So, like, it was just confusing. Like, they send them on this to go kill Grievous. But then literally, like, the next day or 2 days later, they tell Obi-Wan to go, which is like,
Why wouldn't they tell him to come back?
well, not that, but like, why they didn't stop Tualin and
That's what I'm
Iskat from
saying. Why
going.
wouldn't they tell them like, hey, never mind. Obi-Wan's gonna go find Grievous at this planet in this area instead.
But like, because I'm trying to think,
But didn't they say that they could feel that he was there?
they knew that something happened recently, but they didn't know what. Like, they didn't know that he was there specifically, but that there was like a destroyed village or whatever it was. Like, this is like,
Maybe they have two separate leads
that might be.
and they just split them up.
They could be, because like the reason Obi-Wan is sent is because I'm trying to remember exactly how it played out in episode 3, but like I guess it was multiple because I thought they said in episode 3 like there's rumors of Grievous being in the Outer Rim in a certain region. So I guess maybe that's what it was. Like they knew multiple times or from multiple sources that he's in this area. They know that this village on this planet was attacked, so we're going to send Tuolin and them, and then they get more information from about the Utapau, and so then they end up sending Obi-Wan. I don't know. It
It
was
was
just
a
kind
little
of
confusing.
it was a little confusing because like I
And it
thought
only really wasn't confusing until Order 6 happened. And I was like,
right
Grievous is dead.
because when Order 6, yeah, he's dead like within a day after before Order 66. So it's like
They must have been traveling for a while.
it must have
Because
been
they
a
didn't
multi-day trip again.
they said it was multi-day because remember like the girl was so into her tablet or her iPad or whatever that she kept reading. So she
Right.
was practicing with homeboy uh, playing lightsaber, kissy, whatever they do, those two. But they're like dueling in the background.
I thought that was from that other mission.
No, that was that was this one too.
No, because it was like Tuolin and Iskat didn't talk for like 2 years, and then they kind of like have a heart to heart, and then they start sparring for during that 4 day journey.
I thought they just borrowed through this one
And
too.
maybe they also did again this one, but I felt like this one was like a much shorter
I
trip.
know she
But
was mad at him.
that was a whole book.
Yeah,
They
so
were always mad
stupid.
at each
It
other.
was
Like,
so dumb. That's the
well,
part I didn't like. I didn't
well,
not.
but that you're not. But that's the whole point because they're told to suppress these feelings, and that causes conflict and
But
issues. Like,
I think though, okay, so the issue isn't that I don't like the relationship. The issue is that they don't harp on it enough.
what do you mean?
Like most of this book is her trying to find her dead mom or her mom or whatever. She's holding this lightsaber and she's trying to figure out who her people are. She only talks about this boy when she sees him. Like she's not thinking about him constantly throughout this book.
Well,
And
yeah.
every time they're together, and then she's like, "Oh yeah, I remember when."
Well, that's isn't that true though? Like when people have crushes or whatever,
But
they don't
most
see him. They
like,
don't like. They give up, and then they see him again, and the flame gets rekindled a little bit, and then
do you? Okay, so if I asked you, is this a love story? Would you say it's a love story?
no.
But the way the book ends makes it imply that it was, and that's why I think if they would have ended before, if it would have ended when it should have ended, I felt like it was a better story because it wasn't a love story. But then the way they actually ended the book with them and their death, it makes it feel like it was supposed to be a love story, but it felt short to me because it didn't really feel like a love story at all. And that's why I didn't really like the book because I was just like, you guys like we see this dude like 2 other times throughout this entire book, and then at the end is they're like lovers.
I
And
think
there's
it's
no attachments, like they're allowed to do whatever they want. But then Vader finds out and he gets pissed and tries to kill them. It's stupid. Like
well,
it doesn't.
it makes sense though because there's like the whole attachment thing is still true with the Sith because like
Well, true.
it splits your devotion, it splits like your
It's true
willingness to like
because
do whatever you're
yeah,
supposed to. Like so like it makes sense, but like it's um well we'll talk about it when we get there.
yeah. I'm jumping the gun.
We're
But
jumping the gun. But so yes, so they're on this mission, they get on this planet looking for Grievous, trying to follow any leads. They're following the path of destruction type of thing and but like there's just empty handed, nothing's really coming the way it should. And so they choose to set up camp for the night and wait for daybreak or whatever. And when they're doing this, the other Jedi, Sunji, clone trooper, or sorry, before we get to clone trooper, we just see her she gets shot and
As
she
she's like
falls.
reading.
So like I thought Grievous is showing up
Me too.
and with the droid army, and there's gonna be this huge giant fight or whatever. And I'm assuming Toulon was gonna die, all these clones were gonna die, and it was just gonna be Iskat by herself, and somehow this is gonna lead to her being found by whoever. So like I thought that was what happened. So like, cause like the chapter ends with the Jedi being shot and killed, and so then the next chapter, it's um she Iskat has like a vision, like senses like all these thousands of deaths all at one moment. And I didn't realize what was going on. Like
Mm.
when she felt like thousands, I thought she was having a vision of like a dream type of thing, like a prophet, like a prophetic moment or whatever. Somehow, like it just randomly comes to her,
Well, it's because the Grievous thing threw you off. That's why.
right? But like, cause like in uh Dooku Jedi Lost, we get a lot of information about Sifo Dyas, and like he's like plagued by like like dreams and like prophetic episodes where like he's just walking along, and then like he gets this giant like prophecy, like futuristic prediction thing in his head,
Mm-hmm.
and it goes crazy type of thing. So I thought like something like that was happening. Like, why is she ran? This Jedi just gets shot, and now she's like having this crazy thing. And then as I'm reading like the whole page, I'm like, oh shoot, this is Order 66. Because like, oh, I thought there's still another year until Order 66. Like it didn't click until like, everything was happening. But yeah, did you pick up on it right away, or were you confused like
When
me?
when she said I felt thousands of Jedi die instantly, I'm like, oh, this is Order 66. But then I was confused why the other two Jedi's didn't get shot right away.
Well, because it explains why. Because
Well, I know, but in that moment, I was like, I understand if she doesn't die because something's happening with her, but like, why is Homeboy not dead yet? And then you find out in like a few minutes later. But yeah, it
so
it it didn't it threw me off because of the whole Grievous thing. Because like it made it seem like like there was like tracking of him there or like something like that, or like they could feel like he was there. I'm like, dude, if this is Order 66, he should be dead before this even happened. So the timing's wrong.
I think it's what we mentioned, how he was just reported to be in a certain region doing
Hmm.
stuff. He was just probably just on this planet the day before or something. So like the lead was probably correct, but then he's already fled the planet and now
And
went to
then Obi
Utapau.
Utapau, and then Obi-Wan killed him. Then Obi-Wan left Utapau, went back.
Well, he didn't leave Utapau. He was on Utapau when Order 66 happened.
Oh yeah, duh. Because I was like right after when he got shot down by
Cody.
Cody.
So
So that makes sense. Actually, it could be like he destroyed that planet because they were saying it was like all ash and like a lot of that planet was destroyed. So maybe he destroyed that planet and then went to Utapau.
I'm guessing
And they
that's
were
what happened.
traveling because they said they were traveling for 2 days instead of 4. Like there was traveling, it was a shorter trip, but it's still long. So that's she was because she was training without. You're right. She was training without him this time because she was so mad at him still. But the quarters were so small that she had to still use. She couldn't use her own lightsaber, but she was hoping that she'll be able to show her yellow lightsaber because at this point she still took her mom's lightsaber with her.
Yeah, because she had it hidden underneath her cloak, but she still had
Mhm,
like that second lightsaber that she got a hold of to dual
mhm.
wield. But anyway, all of these, the
Did they
one
ever explain how she got her second one?
I think they just have them available in the temple.
Aren't she supposed to make them? But
I
then
guess not.
again, Ahsoka didn't make her last two blue ones.
That is true.
Anakin just gave it to her. So apparently,
Yep.
if in order to become a Jedi, you only have to make one.
Yep.
And after that, you're just gifted.
I guess. Um. So the one Jedi shot. Iskat has this vision, like thing or whatever, of all these Jedi dying, And then it's just kind of like a standstill. Like all the clones are like on edge. They're about to they're like I don't think they're aiming at the other two Jedi, but I think they're like staring them down, like ready to shoot. And Captain Spider pulls out of his bag a hollow call thing. And who is it? It is Emperor Palpatine. Well, that's he's just Chancellor, but it's Darth Sidious, and he's basically Iskat Akaris. Like, you've been questioning a Jedi for a long time. I can give you freedom from the Jedi, and I can give you answers about your mother Feyre. And it's either come with me, come with the whatever, or die. And she's like, well, I'm not gonna die. I'd rather get the answers and have freedom from the Jedi that I've been waiting for my whole life. And she walks away, gets on a ship, and they all shoot Tualin. Supposedly, somehow. I don't know. I was kind of confused later on in the book. But she goes off. She gets handcuffed. She's put in the brig of the ship, and she's delivered to somewhere else. Now, this is a thing that was kind of confusing to me because it seemed like they went to the Inquisitorious fortress, but then like a lot of times they were on Coruscant too, training. But like I was also so I looked that up, and I guess in the Vader comics, like the reason like it says there's a reference to Iskat and what she did, like when she dies, and like Palpatine's like, all right, we're moving all the Inquisitorious stuff off site to Nur, which is where the Inquisitorious fortress
So it
is.
was because of her.
But it's weird because they were already. I swear that they used it before, and in Tales of the Empire, Barriss is brought from prison straight to that fortress while it's being constructed. So like there's the confusing thing because it doesn't say when that the final chapter takes place years later, and on Wikipedia it seems to imply it was 5 years later after is when Iskat dies. So it's like implying then that 5 years after Order 66 is when the fortress was used. Like I don't know, I'm kind of confused on that continuity. But I think they use both locations in this book because she described like the place surrounded by water.
Oh yeah, she does, huh?
So I don't know, kind of confusing. But either way, she's brought some location, and she meets the Grand Inquisitor, and it's basically fight me, let's see how good you are type of thing, and very similar to the Barriss Offee episode where she has to fight the Grand Inquisitor right when she gets there to see what she knows and all that stuff, and he taunts her, and this is when he tells the conspiracy of Mace Windu and the coup d'état that the Jedi supposedly tried to do. And so she's fed this lie about Mace Windu and the Jedi, and the whole war was a sham, and she just believes it because she was upset with the Jedi the whole time. And she's like, I was right. The Jedi are corrupt. They can't be trusted. Whatever this program is, I'm in because I want to fight against the Jedi type of thing. And so I'm like, okay. So this whole thing is based on a lie, which is what Palpatine fed the galaxy anyway in the Senate speech after the attempt on his life that left him scarred and whatever he says. So like, all right, this is what we're doing. And so then a lot of this next part of the book is just her being trained and her experiences in the Inquisitorious uh, facility fortress. And so um, she a lot of it has to do with like the seventh sister, which is the female inquisitor from Rebels that Ahsoka fights. Like she's the green yellowish skin one, whatever. She's trying to steal babies and stuff like that. And so that's her character, which is kind of cool. And so there's that. And she also fights the fifth brother, which is also from Rebels and in the Kenobi series. Um, and it was interesting to like learn more about the day to day life of these inquisitors. Inquisitors. I don't know. What did you feel like? Was it what you expected? Was it different than you expected?
It was what I expected. Like they all, like at the end of the day, didn't care about each other. They're willing to stab all of them in the back. They didn't really have any real guidance. Like, but they were free, but they weren't free. Uh, and the whole thing about the name thing, like you have to earn your sister or your brother name number, was interesting. I thought that was kind of interesting how once she became an inquisitor, she still chose not to use her name that they were giving it to her.
Right.
Which I
See,
don't really,
I
I don't
didn't
really understand
realize.
that.
Like she felt like she didn't earn it yet. That's the whole
Mm.
point. But like I guess I never really thought that the Inquisitors hate each other. I thought they were more
I mean, we're shown that
team
they are
oriented.
team oriented, but
But like, so this book is like they're not team oriented. Like they're all are willing to kill each other and hit each other. But like,
whoever comes back with uh whoever comes back in the mission and they're successful, that's all they care about. They don't really care about anyone else. Which is stupid because if they're not working together, then they're not gonna win, which they don't. But I don't know. A lot of that may change to your point is because this was early on in the system, so maybe a lot of this changed after this situation.
maybe I don't know because that final the epilogue chapter, it seems like there was a more camaraderie because Vader's like, let's throw a party type of thing. Like, and they all had to go. So like, I don't know. Because it seems like in Rebels, these Inquisitors were team oriented, it seemed like. They were working together. They weren't being
But in the
selfish.
Kenobi they weren't.
Sure they were. The fifth brother and the fourth sister,
Yeah,
eh,
but not
like
what's her name?
they never had like beef with each other, but it was just Riva that was like the loose cannon. And that was just because
Yeah,
she was trying to had her own plan and the Inquisitors were like, take a chill pill, like
that's
there's bigger
true.
things going on. So I don't know. I think it'd be cool if we got like an Inquisitorious book trilogy or show or something that could
Tales of the
really
Inquisitors.
flesh out like what it was like. Um,
I want to know more about the Grand Inquisitor.
yeah, I would like to know.
Because wasn't he supposed to be like a Nemorian guard?
No, he was a temple guard.
That's what I meant. Temple guard. Sorry, not Memoria. He's not big.
So like I don't like I'd like
but
to know his
but
like why don't
it's
they that should have been this book is like his backstory.
because as soon as she interacts with him, he was already broken. Like he was already the goat,
Yeah, he was already the Grand
and that
Inquisitor
was like 2 days into becoming.
being
Unless she was
recruited.
knocked out in jail for a year and we didn't realize that in the book or
No, because
something.
but even like with Barris, the Grand Inquisitor was there that first day.
Yeah, so he was like already the Grand Inquisitor before Order 66 happened. Like he was already training and like Palpatine was already like molding him before he launched Order 66.
So I just yeah. So like I
And there's
want to know the
probably stuff
Grand.
in the comics that we don't know about, but
I know there's a lot of stuff with like the Vader comics with
mhm.
the Inquisitors, but I don't know. But yeah. So like her biggest rival, Iskat's biggest rival is the seventh sister. Like they fight each other like in the duel ring, which is the same thing from Tales of the Empire with Barris. Like
Yep.
so they spar in there, and so like the seventh sister just absolutely despises Iskat, and so at one point she in the middle of the night takes these bat
Sure.
robot droid things to like electrocute Iskat in her sleep and shit. She's like every chapter Iskat's getting thrown into a back to tank.
Mm-hmm.
Like Vader spends less time in a back to tank, it seems like.
Vader breaks her arm,
Um
her hand, or whatever.
she also fights the fifth brother at some point. And while she's fighting the fifth brother, Vader shows up, and it's so funny because Iskat uses the Force telekinesis to throw the fifth brother at Vader when they're about to
Mm-hmm.
fight. I thought that was the funniest thing ever. Like I just want to like see the look on his face when he's getting picked up by the Force and thrown at Vader, like the scariest guy in the galaxy. And
That's when she becomes an Inquisitor, right?
um, I forget when she got
I
when
think
that all
that's when,
happened.
because they all fight Vader in order to become an Inquisitor.
Is that what it said? I can't
Yeah,
remember.
that's what they said. Like they all have to fight Vader in order to become an Inquisitor. And some people make it out with what like limbs broken or gone. Because I think the fifth brother lost an arm fighting Vader, or
Mm,
one of them did, because she mentions that.
I think
And
it just
then
mentioned
one
someone was, but I wasn't the fifth brother or anyone there.
And then one person was like, "Oh, you passed the trial," and she winked. They like made sure they wrote it and she winked at me with her one eye because Vader took one of her eyes.
I remember something about an eye.
So she was lucky because all she came out of that duel was just with a broken hand, essentially,
Right.
which was so broken that the back to tank healed it, but it was still like scarred and
I
messed
didn't.
up.
I don't know.
Because later on, she talks about like when she fights Vader again, that her arm, like she looks at her or she feels her hand, or when Vader talks to her or something, she feels her hand, and like she can feel the scars and the torn flesh of her hand still. I listened to this today, so I remember all this stuff. It's fresh.
Um. So when she fights Vader, what she's able to do to in quotes defeat him was she's able to sense like the tubes and wires in his helmet, and she uses the Force to rip them out inside the helmet, so then he can't breathe.
Hmm.
And so then when you can't breathe, he runs out, and while he's running out, he's still able to like pick her up and throw her across the room and almost kills her just by the flick of his wrist type of thing. Um, so I thought it was really cool. Like she's very non-conventional. Like she comes up with her own
She
ways to do
fights
things,
dirty.
and so like I thought that was cool how she was able to defeat Vader like that. But also like maybe it's because it's so early on in this is like literally supposed to be like
A month
a month,
into
or I
this.
think it was like a month in.
Yeah, I think so
So
too.
like this is just his first generation suit because he's able to breathe his helmet off later on. Like when he fights Kenobi, like
Hmm.
his helmet's ripped open, he's still able to breathe. Now you can still he's having issues, but he can still breathe. Stuff. So it's kind of just
It
like
wasn't broken yet, essentially.
it's just like why is pulling out some cords and wires causing him to suffocate basically. So he's still probably still healing from that his initial damage
Burns.
from Mustafar. But very interesting. I really liked it. But also a huge thing that happened, like even before this, um, that while she's going through the fortress or whatever, Palpatine or Darth Sidious shows up and talks to her in person, face to face, as the Sith Lord. Like I didn't expect that, and this is like the first like we don't get a lot of Darth Sidious like as Sidious. Like we see him as like Emperor Palpatine in Bad Batch season 2. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but that's, he's the politician there still. But like here, he's the Sith Lord talking to her, and he's like something like, "You have mixed feelings" or something like that about like you're still unsure about things, and he kind of talks to her to like, I don't want to use the word like encourager because that's not like Palpatine's not an encourager. He's not there to like build you up type of thing, but like he's there to like give her like guidance that this dark path that she's on is a good thing. And she's able to figure out right away that this was Chancellor Palpatine.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but she didn't want to like say that. And so, but when she says that, he's like, good, good. Like you did figure it out. I'm not the same person that I was before, like whatever. And she's like talking to him. And she's like, are you Sith? He's like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Like, am I to be a Sith? And it sounds like he chuckles like, no, 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 but you can serve the greater purposes that I have or whatever. But like, it's kind of
But
funny.
honey, no.
But like she could sense how
Powerful
powerful,
he
and
was.
when they part ways at the end of the chapter, like um like he opens up to the force like fully so she can sense his full power,
Mm-hmm.
and she says it was the most terrifying thing she could ever like imagine type of thing, which is cool seeing Sidious like this. Like, I don't know, did you like this scene?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool.
All right. um so she does go at one point to find her home planet Picori. um and so this was after her fight with Vader and where she healed. Like she felt like she was allowed to leave before whenever she wanted, but like she didn't want to like jump the gun. She
She
wanted to like
wanted to do her part
do her
first.
part, like earn her identity, earn her ability a little bit in the eyes of everybody else. So defeating Vader was enough to give her the confidence, like I can leave. So she leaves. She goes to Picori. It's as primitive as you can get. Like they're just people living on a planet. They don't have any electricity, no droids, nothing, like no technology. It's just strictly living off the land, building things out of wood type of thing. And she's able to track down through, talking to various people, her home village. She goes there. She runs into her grandmother. And so she gets the story of who this Feyre woman is. And it is, in fact, her mother, who was a Jedi that failed the Jedi trials as well and got kicked out of the Jedi Order, returned back to Picori to be with her people. Um,
She was
and
offered to stay, but she wanted to leave.
yep. And so at some point, because she was 16 when she failed the trials, went back to her home planet, and I think it was like 3 years later she gave birth to Iskat, and then 3 years when Iskat was 3, that's when she started using the
She
Force
was
to move
one.
things. One?
Yeah, she was one.
Or it was her mother that was 3.
Her mother, yeah, her
Her
mother
mother
went to
was
the
3.
Jedi at 3.
Iskat was 1 when she used the
Yeah.
Force for the first time,
She
and
grabs like cookies or something off the
it,
counter.
something like that. Classic. If you're a kid and you get the Force, that's what you're gonna do. Um, and
And they recognized her like through her eyes, like right away.
because she's at first, the grandma was like thought it was Sember,
Mm-hmm.
or not, sorry, not Sember,
Not
Feyre,
Simber.
Feyre,
Farah. Yeah.
and she's like, "No, I'm not. I'm Miss Cat." And she's like, "You are still, you're my granddaughter," or whatever she says. And then, so apparently, after Iskat was taken to the Jedi Order, Feyre becomes very, very distressed and depressed, and she turns to substance abuse, and she disappears. And from the grandmother's perspective, that's like the last that they heard from her. And so it gets there, and she's like never felt loved like she's ever felt loved before in her life. Like total acceptance from her family and people. Like she wanted to stay, but she knew that if she stayed, the Inquisitors would come for her and
The
basically
Seven Sister specifically.
and kill everybody there. She's like, the best thing I can do is leave, and then when my duties as an Inquisitor are fulfilled, there's no more Jedi to hunt down, then I can come here and live here for the rest of my life and just be my planet's protector if anyone were to come, type of thing. So she leaves, and
We
she
have to mention too that one of her reasonings to become bad early on is that she had very no attachment to her master. Like her master was not very loving, very short with her, didn't have like a relationship like Anakin and Obi-Wan had. Like there was nothing there. So she always struggled with that. But and then like you find out like in throughout this book that like most Jedis pick their Padawans or have an attachment with their Padawans and that are drawn towards them as younglings, and then that's why they pick them. You find out later that her master picked her because she owed Farah. Farah pretty much was like, "Hey, you can come get my daughter. She's force sensitive, but you have to train her like you did me." So it's pretty much the reasoning why her master never really had attachment, because she was more doing it as a favor to her mom.
right.
So
And so we'll find out later more details about the Jedi's as a whole, like how they viewed Iskat. We'll get to that in a few minutes.
we forgot to mention though she sat down with her grandma and her aunts, and I'm pretty sure they had tea, maybe coffee, but I think it was tea though. They really talked about tea.
They did. And what was interesting is even though they're so cut off from the rest of the galaxy, but there was one company that would be willing to send it to them and bring
Ship
it to
it
them,
that far.
ship it that far for a low price. Um, they also happen to be our sponsor as well. Like,
No
no,
way.
crazy. So if you are a primitive person living in the middle of nowhere, or you're a city folk, you can get a great discount on some coffee or tea from our sponsor, Wesley Andrews Coffee and Tea, out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. So let's take a little commercial break.
Hey everyone, Andrew here. I'm pleased to tell you that the sponsor of today's episode is Wesley Andrews Coffee and Tea. If you don't know anything about Wesley Andrews, you definitely should. They're an award-winning coffee roaster and shop in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and they make fantastic coffee. The awesome thing is that whether you live in the Twin Cities or not, you can get their coffee beans delivered straight to your door by ordering them online. They even have a subscription service that ensures you never run out of amazing coffee. If you've been looking for some new coffee to try or a way to elevate your normal coffee routine, now's your chance. Head over to wesleyandrews.cc, use the code Empire Radio, that's with a capital E and a capital R with no space at checkout, to get 15% off your first purchase of any bags of coffee or a coffee subscription. I can't think of a better deal. Get 15% off some great coffee, support a small business, and support your favorite Star Wars podcast. In the words of Emperor Palpatine, do it.
Do it. All right. So she leaves Picori and goes back to the fortress. And major plot twist that I did not see coming. And it's been hinted at, but we've been talking a little bit if you haven't read the book. But Tualin is alive. And he was taken in by the Inquisitors as well. And somehow he survived. Like, I gotta go back and like read that chapter, but like he was shot down by the clones, And did he like fake being dead or something? Like, I'm super confused on how like
He was shot down. I think they didn't try to kill him, and then they brainwashed him essentially.
I know they brainwashed, but like I was confused on how they went from him being shot and he's down on the ground dying to being brought to the Inquisitors. Like I'm kind of confused on.
They just say that he remembered getting shot, and I think potential. Like I want to say maybe Palpatine can feel his anger towards her because the whole time she pretty much stabbed him in the back. And so maybe Palpatine could somehow feel his anger towards
Cause I thought he
her.
did say that his anger fueled him
So
to
he
like
killed a bunch of them. And then somehow
maybe.
he
But
he
I
got to
thought
the point
he said that when he's laying there on the ground, it was his hatred for her
that kept him alive.
kept him alive, kind of like Maul.
Yeah.
But like I don't know. I didn't really buy that.
So then maybe like Vader or Palpatine felt that too and was like, all right, well, let's keep him,
But like, if
put
you're
some
shot
worms in his head.
dying,
And
like you're not gonna be able to lay there for a few days, and there's gonna happen to.
I don't know.
So it's kind of confusing, but yeah, he was.
They don't explain it more though.
So yeah, so he's taken into the Inquisitorius, and he's been brainwashed, and he doesn't really know what's going on. Like, he's trying to like at this point when they run into each other in the hallway.
But he already has like his robe, like his Inquisitor's outfit on. Like,
Well, they all gotta give him black clothes in general,
yeah.
but
I don't know.
like he's like was brainwashed, but like he's like recovering from the brainwash where like he's still trying to like figure everything out. It kind of reminded me of like PETA in the Hunger Games after he was like rescued from being brainwashed by the Capitol, and
Mhm.
like he's like going in and out of like his crazed state and being like a regular person again. Like he doesn't know what's going on, so it's like he's brainwashed, but then he has to heal, so where he's still like a regular person that still believes what he was brainwashed to believe, type of thing. So they go to the sparring ring circle. They're fighting, blah blah blah, and they're done fighting. And then they go like closer and they're talking, and their hearts are beating. Or something that really annoyed me is like this cat species has two hearts, and like they always kept referencing her having two hearts, like over and over and over again.
Like her hearts are beating, or
And then like even like
when she sees him, her hearts flutter.
that, but like also like like the expression of like follow your heart.
Follow your hearts.
They do it plural, like
They
when it doesn't
literally,
even.
like the
It's not
Jedi's even say that to her.
It's like you don't need to have a plural.
I think Yoda said it to her too.
Well, that's Yoda. He does. That's Yoda. But like
Your hearts, you must follow them.
something like that. So whatever. It was kind of annoying. Like always, these reference like every chapter like about her hearts, two hearts. But like after this, Tualan and Iskat are sparring, like they stop and are talking, and like they're like falling in love or whatever. Right? Oh, they're finally gonna be able to fall in love or whatever. And then Tualan stabs her right in the chest to like kill her.
Mm-hmm.
And then she wakes up in a Bacta tank the next day or a week later or whatever it was. Like, okay, that was
you stabbed me in the back, and I stabbed you in the front, and now we're good.
and like I know like love hurts, but like this is a little extreme.
That's
like,
what I'm saying.
someone.
Like it was so annoying.
But that's like what you said. Like he was just doing it to take revenge for what of her abandoning him during Order 66. So it's like now we're even. And so at some point after this,
They have a very toxic relationship.
Yep, they're sent on a mission independently from knowing each other. They're sent to the same planet where there are two Jedi supposedly hiding. So Iskat goes there, not realizing that Tualan is there. Tualan didn't know that Iskat was being sent there. they follow each other's beacons, or she finds his beacon, and they range. Oh, hey, I guess may the best Inquisitor win type of thing. Like, you have to like kill the Jedi and come back with their lightsaber, or proof that you killed these Jedi. And so it's kind of like a race to find them. And so on this planet, there's this bounty hunter guy, Jakaris, is that his name is?
Mm-hmm.
Like he like collects, he'll hunt down Jedi and like deliver them to the Empire and some other things that the Empire would be interested in. So Iskat finds this facility that they're supposed to like go into, and she pretends like she swaps like the armor with one of the clones that she's with, so that they can like sneak in type of thing. Because like she's like, hey, I'm with the Empire, I got a Jedi in my ship, and I go bring him out. So then she swaps with a clone, and then the clone is supposed to play the pro role of the Jedi. See, here's a Jedi, let me in. And so they get brought in, and while they're waiting, Iskat, she infiltrates the facility to like find these Jedi. And so the first person that she comes across is Charlin, which is a Jedi that is mentioned earlier in the book multiple times, but it was just a girl, female Jedi that never liked her, like this cat. Because this whole thing was like when they're all little younglings, they're supposed to do this thing like on top of a pillar, they're supposed to pull your lightsaber down. And Iskat was so powerful that she pulled the whole pillar down. It killed one youngling, one of her friends, and then hurt a bunch of others. And all these Padawans later on, younglings, like never trusted her. So that was like a thing going throughout the whole book. And Charlin was one of the people that never trusted Iskat. And so Charlin was like, "Oh, Iskat, you're here to rescue me. Let's go." And spoiler alert, nope. Oh, she kills Charlin.
Well, after a very long conversation,
releases her from her handcuffs or chains or whatever.
and chokes her.
And then, that's right, she did choke
She
her.
force choked her.
Yep.
Because she wanted to shut up.
Something like that. And so then she's going through the facility still, and she comes across another Jedi, just some random female Jedi. Kills her, and it's like one cut of the blade, like not even thinking about it. Like, oh, okay. And then she's like, senses someone else, and she finds another Jedi. And who is it? It's Jedi Master Clephon, who was throughout the whole book was like a guiding person for her to like tell her to like just trust in the Force all over and over again. Never liked him. They would spar a lot in the temple. There was one time where like, when they're sparring, like he like whips out some new moves and like shows that he's not this old man. Like he can still do a 1-2 buckle my shoe with the lightsaber type of thing. And so there's a whole thing about them fighting and how she's basically just angry with the Jedi, and she like questions them about her mother and what happened. And I'm just going through my notes, trying to figure out. So I'm trying. So what we find out is because all at this point, Iskat, after she went to her home planet, found out that her mother disappeared. But then Clephon says that she killed herself at some point after she went missing. Like he got that information, and that
because her master went back to try to help her.
Sember.
Yeah, Sember went back to go try to help her mom because her mom like went to. So pretty much like she was super depressed when she went back to her home planet. She didn't want to do the typical things that they do, like braid beads and do what that planet does. So she was super depressed. She had a kid. she was happy again. Her kid had
was it?
her kid had the Force, so then she felt like she had to give her up to be potentially become a Jedi, but then she was so depressed after that, she turned to alcohol and stuff like that. And then her master went to go try to help her, and then she went into the woods and ended her life.
Yeah,
Just
so that's
sad.
Sember was her master, Farah's master. So Cleefan talks about how this whole time, when Sember took on Iskat, it wasn't because there was a connection. It was because Sember wanted to help Iskat where she failed with Sember, and so all these Jedi saw all the darkness that Iskat had and all of her issues, and they all tried to like teach her and lead her down a path that could medicate those leanings to the dark side. So like this whole book, like we kind of didn't mention it, but Iskat has this belief that the dark side is what she was born with, that it was just her natural inclination was the dark side. And so that's why it was so easy for her to embrace the Inquisitorius. And so Sember kind of chose to put her on this path of academic things and
at one point she gets offered to be part of the library.
Work in the library with Jakaska Nu. And so all these teachings that they were trying to like put on to Iskat was to keep her from turning to the dark side, because they all were aware of this. This is what Cleefan is explaining. And like all of it was they didn't want to fail Iskat like they failed Sember. And so this is like the rest of the story. And so Cleefan, he's like super like skinny. He hasn't eaten any food. He's like dehydrated. He's dying, but he's able to lift up his saber and they fight and they duel. And it lasted a lot longer than I thought it was when he was so weak. But they were fighting, and then how does she actually kill him?
She throws her lightsaber and cuts his head off.
She decapitates him. Yeah, so I guess that vaguely remember that vaguely. So yeah, so she kills Cleefan. So she killed 3 Jedi in a matter of like 20 minutes. It seemed like, and then this Jakaris guy, the bounty hunter, arrives and you can't be doing this to my place. I'm going to take you down, and this guy just kills him. Whatever, like.
Wait, no, maybe she decapitates his head.
Yeah, that's what I was.
That's right. He's like talking all this stuff and like, oh, you should join me, like become a bounty hunter, and like because he applauds after she beats him and stuff like that. And then they're talking, and then she just throws her lightsaber and cuts the bounty hunter's head off. Because this guy was like collecting Jedi artifacts and people. Like he was pretty messed up. This bounty hunter person.
Yeah. And so so she kills. So she's able to collect. So the 3 lightsabers for the 3 Jedi's were there in that room with Cleefan. So she was able to take those back to prove that she killed these Jedi, which is interesting that she was sent to kill 2 and she returns with 3. And so when she goes back to the Inquisitorius and Vader's there, he's like, I am pleased with what you have done. And she's like, this is when she finally takes her name of being the 13th sister. And so, yep. And we didn't talk about it because we were kind of like towards the end, except for the epilogue. So let's mention this. But Hizo, who was the mole in the temple, is also at this Inquisitorius fortress, and this cat is able to find him in this random room that she discovered and kills him. Like, I
Well,
trusted you, but you
she
broke my
found
trust.
out. Yep.
So kill you.
And he
Because she
like
learned
gave
that
it.
from Palpatine when they were talking together.
Yeah.
So forgot to mention that. But yep. So
She killed everyone that she was close to.
she killed a lot of people. And there's stuff like missions that like the mission where she goes with the Inquisitor to like the trader, where that item was that Semper found that she wanted to go get supposedly. Like it was also there that she went to Inquisitor and she killed that guy, which was the Max Rebo species guy. So as far as this blue elephant looking guy gets killed by an Inquisitor. But that brings us to the final chapter.
Which
And
we can mention at the end. Never mind.
but so this is entitled like years later after, you know, this she kills the 3. So it's like it doesn't specifically say. Wikipedia seemed to imply that was 5 years after. So I don't know how they got that number, but they said 5 years on Wikipedia. But there's a major mission. They have a lead on a Jedi Council member in hiding, which was interesting. And so it was Eth Koth. So we see him in the Clone Wars, and after certain events in the Clone Wars, he steps down from the council and does his own thing. So like during Order 66, like he's not technically a council member anymore. And so he's a Zabrak. And it's kind of confused. I was like, I thought he was on the Jedi Council. So he's a Zabrak. He stepped down, and then he was replaced by another Zabrak on the Jedi Council, which is kind of confusing. That's why I was kind of confused. But they track him down, and it is believed that he has married and has a child. And so on this mission is Darth Vader, the 5th brother, Tualin, and the 13th sister, which is Iskat. And so all these are going to this random planet to try and track down Eth Koth. And they track him down. And Vader enters into his home, and then they start dueling inside the home. They're dueling. Vader tells the other Inquisitors to go get the baby, because Vader wants the baby. And so they're looking throughout the city for this escaping baby. Iskat is able to track him down at like a port, like an airport thing. And
she's about to get on a shuttle.
About to go on a shuttle, and then like the mother is pleading with it, said, please don't take my baby, please don't take my baby, let me go, blah blah blah. And she's like, from one woman to another woman, please just let me go. And it looks like Iskat has this moment where she has a little soft spot for his mother, because you know she had a mother who lost her child in a sense, and she doesn't want to like give up or whatever, like, or have her give up her child so easily. And so the ship takes off with the mother with the baby. I'm like, oh, okay. And then Tualin and the 5th brother show up. And like, you just let her go? And his cat, do you think it was this easy? So while the ship is leaving, and the mom is like on the platform or whatever, Iskat uses the Force and pulls the baby out of the mother's arms while the ship is flying.
This made me so mad at her,
dude. It's so terrible, so dark, like
so jacked up.
Like it's to the point where like I'm gonna take it this whole like you can't like be a problem.
You can't even
like,
come back and try to fight me.
Like
you're literally watching your kid fall down into my hands as you fly away in the ship. Like it's so dark. It's so messed. This made me. I was just like, this book is dumb. Like it made me so mad.
Okay, it's still like a good story point.
No,
it's
I
supposed
know.
to be evil, so it's not. You can't hate the book because it's
no. I know. I just like I was like, oh, I hate her so much now. So which it's like interesting that you're like reading this novel to slowly start hating the main character.
Well, it's like am I supposed to root for her to become like a good Inquisitor, but then she's doing evil things?
Yeah, it's so interesting how it's like designed. And I didn't realize, apparently the chat's saying that there's a graphic novel version of this book, which I didn't know that. That's kind of cool.
Let's see He says, no, the comics that Jeremiah was talking about is the graphic novel of this book, to my knowledge. Oh.
Because there's also a graphic novel 3-book series of Lost Stars. So that's kind of cool. Because there is like images of the finale like scene.
Interesting.
So
But
maybe if you're listening to this and you guys want your own opinion, maybe just pick up the graphic novel instead of.
maybe. But Iskat, the fifth brother, and Tualin, they return back to Vader, and he's still fighting Koth. Like, I felt like, this is like a half hour of them.
This boy fought.
This is like a long fight between them starting and then returning with the baby. And they're fighting, and then eventually Vader is able to kill Koth when he sees that Iskat has the baby. So that's when like he becomes unbalanced or whatever and can't focus.
As he should.
He sees that he lost his probably assuming that his wife is dead now.
Yeah.
Because whatever. So he doesn't know that she's still alive. And so that's when Vader is able to kill him. And so they leave. They go back to Coruscant. And Vader's basically, let's have a party.
Because we forgot to mention, but like apparently like Iskat does a tradition that whenever she finishes a mission on a planet, she drinks alcohol from that planet.
Yep.
And apparently it became a thing of that all the Inquisitors started doing that.
No,
that's what she, or just her and her boyfriend.
Her and Tualin shared in that because they all said that they thought they were childish for doing that tradition.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So it was her and her boo thing started doing it.
But they're at this Inquisitorious celebration party, like, just a celebration of not life, but celebration of death type of thing.
Yeah.
And so all the Inquisitors are there, and Tualin and Iskat are drinking this alcohol from this planet that they think this tastes like mud. They could think it's just terrible. But they keep drinking it. Tualin is as open. He's a loud drunk, apparently. He's just opening his mouth, talking too much, and he's basically just professing his attachment to Iskat. And Vader overhears it and comes up behind him. And he's about to slash Iskat in half. And Tualin blocks it. And Vader's like, interesting. Like, the plot thickens. And Tualin realized we got they got figured out. Vader's gonna kill us both. Iskat, run. She runs. Tualin is able to run behind her, and they escape out of the building that they're in. They jump on some speeders, on a speeder, and Vader chases them by jumping from speeder to speeder. Which is, she makes the comment like, it seems like he's done this before. Yeah, because Anakin does it,
and it's on Coruscant too.
It's on Coruscant, so it's like we see it in episode 2, Attack of the Clones, him with Obi-Wan
diving from speeder.
But like Obi-Wan is like, I hate when he does this. So it's like, this isn't the first time.
He's done this a lot.
So he's just like being Anakin. He's probably remembering while he's jumping on all these speeders, like those moments. And so like Iskat and Tualin are like taking speeders and like throwing them at Vader, and he's like blocking them and like getting hit by him but not getting phased, blah blah blah. And then eventually like they throw one and he gets knocked off and he just falls on a platform. Iskat and Tualin go back to like finish the job. They're gonna kill Vader and then they can run off and be happy because no one's gonna find them. And they're about to like kill Vader or whatever, but then he like force lifts them or something and turns both of their sabers on at each other so their sabers kill the other person. And the book ends with them staring into each other's eyes, being in love.
Oh, yeah, what is the line? I pulled it up.
Well, it's like she says like, I'm finally free or something like that at the very end.
What they say to each other, because this is part of that graphic novel. They actually like showed this scene. I'm trying to find it. Yeah, they have it in like an art form. is very interesting. Where is it? I just had it up. Can I go all the way back? No. Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
anyway, so it's just they die. It's like the last line of the book says that Iskat Akaris was finally free. Like she's no longer tortured by her identity or what she wanted to be. Like she's no longer held back by the Jedi, no longer held back by the Inquisitorius or the dark side or the light side. She's finally. It's kind of funny because she's criticizes the whole idea of being one with the Force and like people being happy about that. But like it ends with her dying and becoming one with the Force, and her is being finally free. Like it's a good thing. So it's like a whole full circle that like
Yeah.
she's happy even though she's dead.
Yeah, what it says is so they both draw their sabers out, and he catches her, and then she says, "I'm sorry," and then he said, "It's all right. I don't think either one of us expected to die in our bed. Not after the choices that we've made, and less now we will be." like they stab each other. Vader makes them stab each other, but they knew it was gonna happen. Like they're smiling at each other in this graphic novel.
Yep.
Kind of wish I would have read the graphic novel now because the art style is really cool. Vader looks scary as heck, and yeah, this guy's like his skin is as dark as Vader.
Yeah.
Like he's black, like straight up, which is very interesting because we've never seen. And her Inquisitorius outfit looks so interesting. Her helmet is horrible looking.
I haven't seen her helmet. I just know what the cover she looks like on the cover art.
Yeah, the cover art's cool, but the graphic novel version of her helmet.
Yep. But that's Inquisitor: Rise of the Red Blade by Delilah S. Dawson, which overall I really liked it. It got better. If you really dive into like the structure of the book and like how we get bored in the beginning because Iskat is bored with the Jedi Order, like it makes sense, and then it gets better as Iskat is really stepping into who she believes she is, even though she's being evil. Just interesting. Now there's continuity issues with like the length of the Clone Wars, with the Grievous stuff. Like how does it all play out? I don't know, but I think we got it kind of smooth.
So there's a Comic-Con edition version of this book, art cover of the book, and it's her and her Boothang, and then it's like they're on like a black platform, and then on the other side it's the light version of when they're both Jedis. They're holding like red lightsabers, and it's not as dark, so it's kind of like our green lightsabers. It literally shows like that this guy survives. Like it's like one of the biggest spoilers, like the Comic-Con version of it. I'm like,
yeah,
but whatever.
All right.
And it came out in July of last year. So yeah,
it's the like graphic novel or the book?
The book.
So the graphic novel came out after that, I assume. Much after that.
July 19th. It came out during Comic-Con.
Oh, all right. So that's Inquisitor: Rise of the Red Blade. So like I said, I really liked it for the most part. I just want more Inquisitorius stuff.
Yeah, I kind of just wish it would have been like someone we knew.
It would have. I just want to like have like a fuller story of like what exactly the Inquisitorius was, like how it was played out, like what the training was, like the evolution of like the program and where the Grand Inquisitor came from. Like it would be a cool story. I would be fine if it was just a book trilogy or something. That would be cool. Like it could be called the Grand Inquisitor. Like that could be the name of the trilogy. Like that would be really cool. So maybe when we hang out with Timothy Zahn in a month, we can say, hey, see if you can write a book about the Inquisitorius. Like that would be so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, any other thoughts, Drew?
No.
All right, well, let's transition over to everyone's favorite time of every episode, voicemail time.
It's voicemail time.
All right, cool. Well, we have 2 voicemails, but we also have an email voicemail from Caleb Labatt, who has also been in the chat tonight. So he says, "Hey, it's Caleb from the Discord. I just got to read Rise of the Red Blade this week, and wow, that blew away all my expectations. I really felt like the book perfectly layered the ignorance of the Jedi while also showing us why it was easy for them to start the Inquisitorius and why they were so formidable, even though they are downplayed in the shows like Rebels. I definitely recommend this book to anyone looking for a good read, especially one that delves into the dark side. 9.1 out of 10.
Wow. All right, Caleb. My bad. My bad.
So he says, I got 2 questions for you this week. Did you guys feel that the ending was powerful, or did it feel like the whole last epilogue rushed the ending? It rushed the ending for sure.
Yeah.
Like, now, the epilogue included the stuff with Eth Koth. So, like, that stuff was well done. But once they got back and had a party, like, it was literally like 5 or 6 pages. I felt like I have to look back, but like it from when they went to the party to when they're killed, it gets really fast. It came out of nowhere. Like,
Well,
I'm
like I said, I was okay. This book could have ended before the epilogue, in my opinion, on how it was ended.
Right, or they could have showed. I thought what was going to happen was she let the baby go, and then Vader was going to kill her for letting her go. Like, I thought that's how it was going to be.
And
but
she ended up dying because of love. That the book didn't really. As much as we're saying this, like the book did not talk about their love relationship, like really at all.
It was just always like whenever they saw each other, her hearts, plural, fluttered. Like, it was kind of annoying.
That's literally what it was. And he never really felt like it. Like, he never really shown that he felt the same, really.
Well, it was because the book was from Iskat's perspective. We didn't see his thoughts, but like because he was turned to the dark side and like became an Inquisitor, like he had all those same internal struggles, but we just never saw him. So like he probably saw her whenever he saw her, probably felt the same thing. But yes, it was a very rushed ending. Once they came back after that mission, it just kind of ended pretty quickly. So that was kind of unfortunate. But he has another question. Since it is, so he sent this
today, didn't he?
Today, but he says, since it's October 1st now, and Jeremiah is playing Christmas music, my second question is, are we going to try to do 12 voicemails of Christmas this year? Remember that when we did the 12 voicemails of Christmas?
I do, but I don't remember what it was. Like,
it was the Q&A, ask us anything, and it was, remember we were always saying if you send in 12 voicemails, we'll just do a whole episode on voicemails.
Yeah.
And
I'm down. Let's do it.
Well, we got, what do you call it? Skeleton Crew. So I don't know if we're going to have time for that. But
forgot that show's coming out.
No promises, but in February, end of February, our 5-year anniversary and 300th episode are going to be like right at the same time.
Ooh.
So maybe we could do another Ask Us Anything. Maybe. I don't know. We have to figure out what we want to do for our big 5-year 300th episode type of thing.
We got to do something big, dude. Something dope.
We got to figure out something. Because the funny thing is, like, I think it's like literally 300th episode, and then it's March. And as we have announced, Andrew is doing the EU March Madness with 19 EU books in 4 weeks. The new Jedi Order book series. So it's like, I don't know if he's going to be able to have time to do a 300th episode party with us. But if you are in the Discord or want to send us an email or something, give us some ideas what you think we should do for our 5-year 300th episode celebration type thing. So it's a big milestone, 2 big milestones all at one time, like within a week, party of each other. So
no, chat, we're not doing that.
Empire Con for the 300. If you guys want
Y'all want to come up, that's fine.
if you guys want to independently plan it and come up in February in the snowiest, coldest month of the year.
Yeah.
Well, last year we had like 0 snow. Hopefully
This year apparently it's supposed to be just as bad, if not worse. Apparently
so no snow
to the farmers, like whatever.
Oh man, that stuff is like literally hit or miss.
I'm just saying. Last year they called it, and they're calling it again. They're saying that it's supposed to be just as bad this year, which I know you hate that.
It was easier walking in the winter,
yeah,
but like I miss the snow.
Snowboarding was awful last year. Ice fishing was awful last year.
Yep. What are you gonna do? Well, thank you, Caleb, for your email and questions. But we got 2 voicemails sent in. First up, Will. So let's take a listen.
Hey, Empire Radio. Will here. I have a very interesting question. What is the most amount of money you have spent on something that isn't a car or a house that you regret buying for that price?
All right. Thank you, Will.
That's a good question, Will.
So I have my answer.
All right, go first.
And you know what it is because it's currently in your house right now.
What?
That camera that I bought that you guys never gave me back.
Oh, yeah, it's still over here. That's your biggest regret? It's not your 3 computers that you bought?
Because I bought that camera by the recommendation, basically, of you and Andrew so that we could use that. And it's like I bought it so we could use it to like make film our things. Now I had to buy a second camera, this one, because it's better for streaming or webcamming or whatever. But like I spent like
$400, $500.
No, it was like $1,000.
No way.
I think it was a $900 camera.
Oh.
Plus I bought like the warranty, extended warranty. You borrowed it because it's such a nice camera to film a wedding, and you never gave it back.
It's still right here. You can come get it at any point.
No, just give me like $300, $400 for it. You can have it. I'm never gonna use it, so give me like $300, $400.
Well, we'll talk.
Yeah, okay. So that's my answer. The camera that Drew.
You can use that Empire Con.
No, you're filming and you're editing a vlog video. That's on you this year.
Okay.
Or you're filming and then you have Stephanie edit the video.
Yeah. Sounds good.
But what's something you have bought that you regret? Like the most expensive thing you regret buying? Anything? Any toys that you spent like way too much on, or you can't say a vehicle? You say you can't say a house or a car.
I was gonna say I have a car in my mind that I don't know. I make dumb purchases for sure.
But, yeah.
But in my mind, like I don't know. I really don't know. Like I don't regret anything that I own.
Yeah, Drew's like YOLO, like
whatever. Like I don't know, like I don't. There's things like like I should sell like half my Funko Pops because they're in a box in the basement. Like, but it's not like I don't know. It happens. There's a car that I can tell you that I bought and drove it off my current vehicle. That is probably the biggest thing I regret. But you said I can't use a car. But that is the biggest thing. Bought it during COVID. Spent like almost 10 grand over market value pretty much at this point in time. Try to sell it this weekend even. Still can't sell it because I owe too much money on it still. That's my biggest regret. And Stephanie tells me every day that we shouldn't have bought it. But, whatever.
All right, cool. All right. Thank you, Will, for causing marital drama. But let's move on to our final one. Garrett from the Coup d'etat verse is
Ooh.
back, and an update because last week he tracked down where he believed that all of his people were taken to by the First Order. So let's see what he's up to now.
Hey Empire Radio, it's Garrett. I was able to learn the patrol routes for the First Order troopers and set up a trap away from the compound. I grabbed a bunch of blasters and hooked them up to a tripwire so that when a trooper hits the wire, the blasters will start shooting from a whole bunch of different angles. Then all I had to do was wait by the compound. Once the alarm was sound, I knew my plan worked. The troopers called in reinforcements because they were under attack, and almost all the troopers left the compound to assist. Once the reinforcements left the compound, I made my way in, knocked out a couple of guards, and got to my people. There's only one guard between me and their holding container, so I thought now was a good time to test my abilities. You will drop your blaster and unlock the container. And he did! It does work on people. I then grabbed my people and we headed to the control room. Took a little bit of time, but we were able to get into the controls and activate the defenses for when the troopers return. Here's one question though. If you could have one non-physical force ability, what would it be? For example, some are mind trick, awareness, pathfinding, skywalking, shatterpoint, concealment, visions, or bonding. I would pick awareness because it covers a lot of bases with flying, fighting, or even just knowing a person's true intentions.
All right. Thank you, Garrett. So he is fighting the First Order by himself, and he lured all the troopers away, and now he's ready to take them all on when they return. So the story's getting thick. We're wondering who's gonna die. Is he gonna survive? I don't know. Is Kylo Ren gonna show up? Who knows? But the question is, what was the question? Oh, non-physical force ability. So it's like no force pushing or force pulling or telekinesis or anything. It has to be like a non-physical thing. I don't know. I like the whole psychometry thing where you can like sense the history of places and things. That's kind of cool. But like you mentioned, like, you know, knowing people's true intentions.
Yeah.
That'd be
Reading
cool.
a room, sensing when people are lying to you, or yeah, I feel like I could use that a lot.
Like when your kid is like cranky and crying and you don't know what he wants you can just like read his mind. And
It's not that. It's pretty easy to figure out his real intentions because he'll just throw a fit, and then I give him that look, and then he sits up and wipes his tears, and then yeah, he's fine. It's more like other people around you that you're like, are you being shady? Or like when you're like, oh, like let's go hang out, and then they flake on you. You realize that the whole time they probably were like, yeah, that's not gonna happen. Which I would know that, so that I didn't plan. You know.
yep, I hate that too when people cancel.
The worst.
All right, cool. Well, that's it.
Communicating with animals would be cool, chat.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Get my dog to go potty in one area in the yard. That'd be
Rather than
dope.
having a million pea spots that
Oh
grew in
my
your grass.
gosh. No,
Bro,
dude, it's not even grass. This girl, she doesn't like going in the grass. So she just likes to go on our patio.
You got a diva dog.
Dude, it's so annoying because like you'll open the door to let her out and she'll just pee right in front of the door. I'm like, girl, the whole front of her back door just smells like piss. I'm like, go out. You have all this grass. Just go outside. It's so annoying.
Well, what if you were just like pick her up and go out the door and set her
I
in the
could
grass?
just like push her, like, or just tell her to go out. Or like she always like poops right in front of my grill. I'm like, girl, like, but I try to grill crap. Like I'm to go away. It's so annoying. It's like it's so, or she'll just like go on the walkway to the cars. I'm like, so in the morning you're like making sure that she didn't go out before you in the morning and just,
and it's starting to get dark first thing in the morning now. So
it's like go to work in the dark, come home, and then once it gets snowy and like, yeah, she's a diva. She is a diva for sure. She is not really Ahsoka. Okay, she's so far this problem. Ahsoka Tano. She's literally snoring right now, like right next to my feet.
fun.
Yeah,
All
she
right.
gets to sleep.
Well, thank you, Will, Garrett, and Caleb. But that's it for tonight. Next week, we're doing part 3 of Rebuild the Galaxy. We're starting that up, so there's parts 3 and 4 left. Then we
Miles
got
is super pumped. He
yep,
wanted to do it today. He was so mad.
yep. And we are in a couple of weeks. We're actually going to be pre-recording another blind ranking episode. So we'll let you know in the Discord when that is going to be, so that you guys can send in some voicemails for that. But it's going to be a special one because Andrew and Grace are going to be with us. So it'll be a 4-person episode again, doing blind ranking. I already have all the categories made up, so it's going to be a fun one.
And it's going to take a while.
It's going to take a while.
And I'm pumped for it.
But we're excited. But until then, if you want to check us out more than just listening to us or watching us, go into the description below, the links.co/Empire Radio, link spelled with 2 I's. Click that landing page for every single thing you could imagine for Empire Radio. Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, a link for sending voicemail. So send in a voicemail if you've never sent in a voicemail. Join the Discord, hang out with a lot of cool people, talk about Star Wars and other random stuff. There's a fan email, so if you want to send us an email about anything, go right ahead. And then also needlesslynerdy.com, which is an entertainment network that we are a part of, so go check that out for other nerdy content. Anything else, Drew?
Nope, that's it.
All right. Well, you've been listening to another booktastic episode of Empire Radio. I'm Jeremiah.
I'm Drew.
And may the Force be with you.
Always.